Today on Commander Replay, Commander 19 week continues with more Anje Falkenrath. This time, will we actually get the chance to reanimate anything? Find out next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, or if you just want to get some high quality games of MTGO, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Today's deck list comes as voted on by Patreon supporters, with Anje Falkenrath taking down 38% of the vote. Welcome back. Game 2, Anje Falkenrath made a few changes between games, got a little bit more removal going this game. This hand looks okay. We've got 3 lands, we've got some creatures we can pitch, we've got one of our few remaining Madness cards. As I talked about, this is not a Madness deck, this is a Reanimator deck, so only a small handful of Madness cards in the deck. The Madness build is fun, although how effective it is exactly, I'm not sure. But yeah, our plan today is to dump big creatures into the graveyard and then pull them out with things like Victimize and Friends. Here's a turn 1 Soul Ring for the Kambal, and brings it to our turn 1. We draw into an Anger. That is a perfect card for us to discard, so we'll be looking to do that as soon as we can. Play the Scalding Tarn, crack the Scalding Tarn, see what we got for red-black lands, maybe get something that comes in tapped. Smoldering Marsh seems good, and we'll pass turn like that. Another turn 1 Soul Ring. We are so far behind. Nothing like being behind on turn 1. I attended a panel at GP Vegas, and who was there? Shivam was there, and I can't remember the other guy, but it was one of the guys that's actually a part of the rules committee. And he was saying that once the first Commander product came out with Soul Ring in it, that pretty much sealed the fate that Soul Ring probably isn't going anywhere, even though it really should, because now we're 2 turns behind 2 of our opponents. 3 turns now if you count this Commander Sphere. Not amazing. Not amazing. Maybe we need to put a Meltdown in the deck for stuff like this. Something that I might think about. We draw into an Altar of Dementia. Play the Altar of Dementia. And pass turn like that. Opponent's going to cycle a Forgotten Cave, sure. And Mana Crypt for the partner opponent, so everyone's got a Mana Rock except us. Not amazing. Not amazing. Into Kodama's Reach, cool, yeah, everyone ramping like crazy. On turn 4 and 5 we can start to ramp, but that is very late. It'll be very, very late. Homeward Path for our opponent, we'll need to keep that in mind if we fire off Rise of the Dark Realms. And a Gift of Estates, yep. So as I mentioned, we're playing Anje Falkenrath, Red-Black Reanimator. Taking a look at what Anje does. 1 black-red for a 1/3 with haste. Tap it, discard a card, draw a card. If you discard a card with Madness, untap Anje. Pretty good ability, does a lot of really cool things. If you are playing the Madness build, it allows you to do a lot of things at instant speed that wouldn't normally be at instant speed, so you can kind of wait to end steps before really deciding what you're going to do. Pretty cool like that. But that's not what we're doing today. Our build is focused around Red-Black Reanimator. We want to dump big creatures into the graveyard and pull them out with Reanimate spells. There's a Kambal Ritual. We do not have... You know what, though? Kambal Ritual into Solemn Simulacrum is where we want to be. So I think we're going to be doing that. Get ourselves 3 black mana, get the Solemn Simulacrum into play. Some ramp off the top was just what the doctor ordered right there. Get ourselves caught up to our opponents a bit. Yeah, let's get a Swamp just in case we run into Kambal Coffers. And pass the turn like that. And next turn we can... Ooh, we need a land still. Crap. We don't have another land for Kiki-Jiki. So we're going to be hoping land off the top to Kiki-Jiki the Solemn Simulacrum. Here's a Burning Prophet for the Feather opponent, sure. Here comes a Tana the Bloodsower into play. Yep. Taking a look at what our opponents are playing. First up, we have Feather the Redeemed, and we saw a little bit of their deck last game, seeing some of the same cards again. Burning Prophet back to play. Looks like sort of a prowess kind of build. Don't know exactly what they're up to, but some sort of Feather value. Doesn't appear to be an all-in type of build. Blind Obedience is actually really good against us, especially with this Anger in our graveyard and our commander. Yeah. Blind Obedience is very, very good against us. That is unfortunate. Land off the top. It's a land! Yeah, alright, let's get ourselves some mana ramp. Crack this Marsh Flats. Get a Badlands. Play Kiki-Jiki. Hope no one's holding up with swords. Oh, it comes in tapped! Oh, wrecked. Blind Obedience. I forgot about it. And there's the swords. Well, we can sacrifice the Kiki-Jiki, which we will be doing. Mill ourselves. Sacrifice the Kiki-Jiki. We mill Villas. Villas is pretty good. So we can sacrifice Solemn Simulacrum to Victimize and get back Villas and Kiki-Jiki, potentially. We could also, if we catch another land, we could actually play our commander and sacrifice our commander to do it. And you'll notice the Feather player has a bunch of colorless lands into play. You really want to be careful about how many colorless lands you run in a feather deck. I'm not sure what they're running, but it looks like they're probably running too many. In that deck, I would most definitely cut Slayer Stronghold. The mana that you need to activate Slayer Stronghold is just a lot, even in non-feather decks. Scavenger Ground is a very good thing to have on hand. Rogue's Passage is decent, but it depends on what kind of build with feather you're going for. If you're doing like an all-in feather where you're just trying to like get as many pump spells on there as possible, I could see that being a thing. But when you have all those spells and you're adding like protection from colors and things like that, adding trample, then I don't know, Rogue's Passage doesn't seem that necessary. I wouldn't add it. So yeah, they definitely have probably a few too many colorless lands in the deck, because assumingly there's more than that. There's a Wild Slash coming in. Deals 2 damage to any target. Going to Wild Slash the Tana with the Ajani Steadfast on the stack. So Tana goes down. There's a Radiant Destiny for our opponent. Yep. And opponent will plus the Ajani Steadfast onto our Solemn Simulacrum. Kambal opponent passes without doing anything. Interesting. They have almost entirely colorless mana other than the Commander Sphere. That seems not great for them. I'm thinking Necromancy on the Kiki Jiki right here. Although, if we do that, then we're exposed to removal again. I'm going to try it, though. Really want to get the ramp going just so we're set up into the late game. Maybe we just go for Villas. Crap, I tapped my lands wrong. Yeah, we're just going to go for Villas. We could have definitely left that one untapped and got ourselves some card draw going. Oh, opponent going to crack the Scavenger Grounds. Well. Villas and Kiki Jiki down. Graveyard's getting exiled. Makes me not super happy. They do have to sacrifice a land, though, and that is painful. That will slow down their Soul Ring start, so it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, and Necromancy just kind of stays there, not doing anything. We'll take a swing into the Ajani Vengeance to keep the Ajani down. I'm just going to use the Slayer Stronghold on the Burning Prophet. Appears that they don't have much else going on, so... also going to try to take down the Ajani Vengeance, so that's the thing. Sidar, Kondo of Jamura coming into play. Introducing our second opponent, by the way, we have Champion of Thune piloting Tana and Sidar. And they did say it was a combo deck, but they have no tutors for their combo. There's an Anointed Procession, so it is some type of token deck. I'm guessing probably the Kiki Jiki combo. It would be my guess. Or other creature-based combo. Actually, you know what? We may have faced this deck before. There might be, I think there might be an Archangel of Thune and Spike... Is it Spike Feeder? Whichever one gains you life. I think that one might be in the deck. So, yeah, those are things we'll need to be careful of. We are not a commander damage-based deck, so gaining 1,000,000 life would not be good for what we're trying to do. Suppose we could mill them out, though. That's a thing that could happen. See what we draw right here? We draw a Flayer of the Hatebound. Interesting. Think probably need the card draw from Solemn Simulacrum. Although, Victimize requires a creature. Maybe we get our commander into play. Seems like probably a pretty good time for that. It comes in tapped. Opponent's got some stuff in play. We'll just leave the Solemn Simulacrum back. At some point, we're going to think about probably sacrificing the Solemn Simulacrum. Try to get the card draw. We are missing land drops now. It's not amazing. See what comes down in the next turn or so, and if there's anything we can Dark Withering, that'll get us into an extra card as well. Mana Crypt flip for the partner opponent. Our final opponent, by the way, is Ivan Black playing Kambal Console of Allocation. Looks like they're doing the black-white life gain thing. Slowing everyone down with Blind Obedience. Such a punishing card. I probably need to run that card much more than I do. It is just so good. And if you let it go, it will kill you. It is a win condition. So, you know, that's a thing. No attacks from our opponent. I mean, someone should probably attack the Kambal. Like, soon they will be gaining a lot of life. Here comes a Blood Gift Demon for our opponent. Yep. Instead of bringing it back to our turn, let's see what we draw. It's a Noxious Gearhulk. Pretty sweet little card. Don't have the mana for it. Probably means, I kind of want to make a land drop. Let's start by using Anya's ability. Let's discard a card, discard the Dark Withering. It'll Madness. Opponent's going to draw a card with the Arch, sure. We're going to cast the Dark Withering, shoot the Sidar. That'll untap our commander. We draw a card, it's a Reanimate. Oh, that's spicy. Okay, I think the plan now is mill ourselves with Altar of Dementia, sacrifice the Solemn Simulacrum. We mill 2, we draw a card. Hopefully we draw a land. Really looking for a land. Use the ability. We get a Talisman, not a land. We mill 2 cards, but it's going to be lands. Yep, 2 lands. Called it. Totally called it. Blood Crypt and Ancient Tomb. Kind of wanted those. Next thing. Discard a card. Discard that's Anger. Draw a card. Get him out and finally find a land. Play the land. We should have discarded the Gearhulk, actually. is the thing we should have done. But I think that means we reanimate on the Solemn Simulacrum. Lose 2 life, get a land, comes in tapped, let's get a swamp. Use Altar of Dementia on ourselves, sacrifice the Solemn Simulacrum. Basically just looking for like any worthwhile creature. We draw the Grave Titan, that's the one we wanted to mill. And we mill the Fateful Showdown, so things not going how we would have hoped right here. Play the Talisman. Yep, we definitely need to discard the Gear Hulk, because then if we discard the Gear Hulk, we bring that in, shoot the Blood Gift Demon, and then get the Solemn Simulacrum back with Victimize, and then life is good. That was a punt. But we did get caught up a little bit in terms of lands and card advantage. Opponent going to use a Niveus Wisps to draw a card. Their commander is not in play. Makes that super awkward. Oh yeah, opponent also scried like crazy playing all those cards too, so that's the thing. There's a Cultivate for the partner opponent. Yep. Opponent gets a Blood Gift Demon trigger, draws an extra card. Gonna play a Kambal, Console of Allocation. Yep. Here's an Extort trigger. Opponent's gonna Bandage in the meantime, and they're gonna scry. Feather's still not in play, so, you know, not amazing for them. Here's a Suture Priest. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, gain 1 life. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you may have that player lose 1 life. Blood Gift Demon over to the Feather opponent. Yep. Brings back to our turn. We finally draw a land, play a land. Activate our commander. What are we discarding? Grave Titan seems like a pretty good one. Flare of the Hatebound gives us a lot of removal, which is kind of cool. So if we Flare the Hatebound, then Victimize on something. How much mana do we have? We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Exactly enough to go Grave Titan Victimize. If we do that, we get 2 things back. We could fire 2 damage triggers off. One at Blood Gift Demon, one at like Suture Priest or something like that. That seems like a pretty solid plan if you ask me. So let's do that. Here comes Grave Titan. Suture Priest will get us a little bit. Get us 3 times once the 2 zombies come in. Yep. Activate Anja. Discard Flare of the Hatebound. Draw another land. Play Victimize. Get Flare of the Hatebound and Solemn Simulacrum. Kambal will get us for 2. Sacrifice a zombie. Flare of the Hatebound will come in. So this is the 4 damage trigger. Shoot this at the Blood Gift Demon. This is a 2 damage trigger. Shoot this at the Suture Priest. Solemn Simulacrum will come in. We'll get another land. And the cool thing now is that we have Altar of Dementia and Flare of the Hatebound, which means we can instant speed shoot something if we need to, like if an Archangel of Thune combo should show up. Get a land, get a swamp. So Blood Gift Demon down and Suture Priest down. Should slow opponent down quite a bit. Strong Arm Monk coming into play. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. It's probably a little overcosted at 5 mana. Comes in tapped. One thing I'm seeing is that this deck needs a little bit more card draw. Something like a Moonlight Bargain and Promise of Power. Probably going to be a pretty good idea. So when you play it as a Madness deck, you get inherent card advantage off of the Madness ability because you're still casting the cards. Because we're not doing that, the card advantage works out just a little bit differently. So yeah, a few more sources of card draw in the deck are going to be a good idea. Right now, there really aren't very many at all, so... Explosive Vegetation for our opponent, yep. One thing I'll mention too is that I'm aware of the World Gorger combo that exists in Red-Black. I chose not to run it. I'm not a big fan of infinite combos at the level that I like to play at. If you're playing at a stronger level, sure, World Gorger all day long. I did look at some of the CEDH stuff for Anja, and maybe I'll try that out soon. It does look very interesting. But for now, I wanted to keep it kind of around mid-power, so I went with no infinites, which is the reason that I'm not running the World Gorger combo. And there's a Sphere of Safety for our opponent. Yep, it's going to make our attacking plans difficult. That Homeward Path still in play, just reminding myself in case we run into Rise of the Dark Realms. Drana's Emissary coming in. Yep, opponents kind of have a lot of nothing this game. It's been a weird game. Opponent didn't even recast their commander, which seems strange to me. Maybe just looking for answers with the Arch. So to bring it back to our turn, we draw a Murderous Compulsion. Interesting. Play the Mountain. And now I think we finally get to do some attacking. Feels like been not a lot of attacking this game. Life total still relatively healthy for turn 9. Champion did say they were playing a combo deck, so that's like a thing that we should probably think about wanting to deal with. So we'll attack them with some stuff, get ourselves some Grave Titan tokens. They go down a 14, taking a big old hit. We're basically into the situation if someone needs to board wipe. I don't really want to run Noxious Gear Hulk down with that being the case. Opponent's gonna draw with the Arch on their end step. Here comes a Rhythm of the Wild for an opponent. Yep, gets hit with a Kambal trigger. Here comes their commander back to play. Yep, it will come in tapped. And they give it the old +1/+1 counter. Yep, because haste will not be helpful right there. Drana's Emissary trigger for the Kambal opponent. Yep. Ooh, opponent's gonna Teferi's Protection right now? That seems weird. And Kambal passes without doing anything. Weird. That's a Living Death. That may come in handy at some point. Also gives us the ability to just mill ourselves like crazy and then go wild. That might be a thing worth doing at some point. But in the meantime, I think we'll just do some attacking. Keep Anja back and keep Solemn back. Send everything else into the... Oh, 10? Well, we don't have that much else going on, so... We'll send 2 zombies. I want to leave just a little bit of mana up for Murderous Compulsion. So we'll pay 8. Make some better land choices right here. Grave Titan will get us 2 more tokens. Opponent takes a hit, goes down to 33. Not too bad. Get them back down to a normal life total. Mana crypt flip for our opponent. If they lose it, they go down to 7. Ooh. That means that Flayer of the Hatebound is 2 points of damage away from killing them. That is an Elish Norn. Elish Norn does some things. We will want to get some value first. We're going to lose all of our zombie tokens, so start milling ourselves. There's a Doom Whisperer. Nice. Milling through some lands. It's an Entomb. Not hitting too many creatures yet. There's Judan. That's a good one. That means we can get that Living Death and then Living Death again? Yeah, that should probably win the game. There's the mana ramp we didn't see early on. We'll get an Undying trigger on Flayer of the Hatebound. And might as well throw that at the face of the Sidar opponent. They could just die to extort triggers, is a thing that could happen. Or their own mana crypt. We mill a bit more. We hit an Ingot Chewer and Merciless Executioner. Those are helpful. And finally, the Solemn Simulacrum. Draw with the Solemn Simulacrum. It's a Stitch Together. That's a good one. Mill a little bit more. We hit a Big Game Hunter. Drana's Emissary goes down to the Elish Norn trigger. Yep. Ooh, opponent's going to exile our Altar of Dementia. Do we sacrifice Flayer right now? I think that we do. Sacrifice the Flayer. There's a Praetor's Grasp. Do we sacrifice the... Yeah, I'm going to sacrifice the Grave Titan. Hit a Shriekmaw. Shriekmaw probably not the most helpful after a Living Death, but... Well, I guess it could be. What creatures are coming back? Suture Priest. Suture Priest is the one that we can hit. Extort trigger. Opponent's going to pay. Puts the partner opponent to 1 life. Don't crack a fetch. The opponent's going to Boros Charm the face of the Kambal. And that will kill them, so just taking themselves out of the game. Down they go. That means Elish Norn's gone now, as well. And our Altar of Dementia finally getting exiled. Oh, that was all end step, by the way. Here comes an Evolving Wilds for our opponent. Crack the Evolving Wilds. Gonna end step discard the Noxious Gear Hulk. We draw a land. There's a Duplicant. Discard the Duplicant. Get another land. Play this land, reveal a swamp, cast a Living Death. Kambal will trigger. Opponent's going to Eerie Interlude their creatures. That's fine. I'm actually going to send the commander to the graveyard. So here comes Living Death. Oh, that's a lot of Suture Priest triggers. Many, many triggers going on the stack. Ooh, does Flayer of the Hatebound not work? I don't see the Flayer triggers. Noxious Gear Hulk. Actually, guess we'll shoot our Flayer. Ingot Chewer, hit the Commander Sphere. Duplicant, hit, I guess, the Drana's Emissary. And then Big Game Hunter on the Bloodgift Demon. Yeah, Flayer of the Hatebound did not trigger right there, and that makes me super sad. We're losing a lot of life to Suture Priest. Oh, opponent's going to Teferi's Protect. Okay. Well, we just lost a lot of life, and we're tapped out. That's all not amazing. Opponent's going to phase out. Sacrifice our Solemn Simulacrum. There's a Plaguecrafter. Flayer of the Hatebound will come back. Shoot opponent in the face. Solemn Simulacrum gets us land. Grave Titan makes some tokens. The tokens come in. Ooh, the tokens. Yeah, the tokens come back in. And the tokens, if we get Anger into the graveyard, we could... Oh, yeah, we can do some stuff right here. So the thing we really need right now is Whip, so we can gain a lot of life back. We don't have a sack outlet, though. Well, I guess we have a sack outlet in Dread Return, but we don't have a way to mill ourselves anymore. Ooh. Oh, we can mill with Doom Whisper. Well, we can only do it a couple times, but... Yeah, let's start milling with Doom Whisper. Inferno Titan and Archfiend of Spite. Those are 2 pretty big cards. Put into graveyard. Put into graveyard. Sacrifice Judan. Get back Living Death. Do we risk going lower? Let's try one more time. Maggots of the Wheel and Buried Alive are cards. Maggots definitely into the graveyard. Buried Alive, probably on top. Seems like a better place for that one. And I think we're going to stop right there. Our life total's pretty low. So then, let's use Dread Return. Oh, opponent could extort us to death. That's a thing that could happen. We need life gain. Need life gain. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. Stitch Together on Judan. Flayer of the Hatebound will trigger. Sacrifice this, get Praetor's Grasp. Praetor's Grasp comes in. We can't target opponent. We can, however, target Feather. Actually, do we want to target Feather? Does Feather have Sun Titan? That's a question. Sun Titan does crazy things. Do they have a sack outlet? They probably don't have a sack outlet. Do they have life gain? Yeah, let's take a look at Feather. See what they've got. Insult to Injury seems interesting. Teamer Battle Rage also looks interesting. I think we'll just get Teamer Battle Rage. Yeah, I guess we're going to stop right there. Things a bit awkward. Eerie Interlude will bring the creatures back. Probably just went for Blasphemous Act, blew up our board, and then Living Deathed again. That's what we should have did. Here comes Feather into play, sure. Opponent's stuff phases back in. We get dinged for 1 off of the Drana's Emissary. Oh, yep, there's Death Deathless, and we just died. Cool. Yeah, I guess the reason Living Death didn't work is because you exile the creatures first and they come in from exile. They don't come in from the graveyard. Is probably why that didn't trigger. That was not something that was on my radar previously, so... Yep, that cost us pretty big because I was hoping to shoot opponent in the face for a whole lot. And then we misplayed after that, but I guess we didn't really have a great way around the Death to Deathless. What else could we have done? If we had a tutor, we could have gotten Whip of Erebos at some point, but we did not have the tutor. So down we go. Opponent's going to play a Shelter on their Feather, and then block the Blood Gift Demon. So Feather doing some attacking gets pumped up by a Defiant Strike. Feather coming in for 8. Opponent blocks with the Drana's Emissary. Drana's Emissary goes down. Here comes Defiant Bloodlord. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. That's pretty good. Last turn, opponent did lay down a Disenchant on the Blind Obedience, so Blind Obedience is finally down. That card did so much work against us. It just wrecks our deck. It makes our deck go in super slow motion. I mean, the only reason we were even in it is because our opponents weren't doing much at all, but if they were, it's like being in quicksand. So opponent going to put Defiant Strike on the Feather, and that'll trigger the Strong Arm Monk. Opponent's going to Tectonic Edge the Rogue's Passage down. Opponent can no longer afford the cost on Sphere of Safety. Other things that this deck could use, like we talked about, the deck could use a bit more card draw. That's the thing that I'm seeing. Praetor's Grasp wasn't really doing much for me, so I think I'm going to take that opportunity to add in a Moonlight Bargain. Need more ramp, too. The ramp is really low. And Murderous Compulsion, I wasn't really impressed with it, honestly. Going to pull out Murderous Compulsion, get another piece of ramp in here. Get a Worn Power Stone. Check back in the game. All right, there's an Aurelia's Fury. 1 point of damage targeting Feather, and... Okay, so opponent's going to Beacon of Immortality and double their life total. With the Arrogant Bloodlord in play, that will kill the Feather. While that's on the stack, Feather's responding with Aurelia's Fury, going to go X3, doing 1 damage to opponent's face, 1 to the Suture Priest, 1 to Feather, and then they Chaos Warp the Arrogant Bloodlord. So Feather avoiding death right there, and those cards coming back. Aurelia's Fury going to be really good right here. They can keep them from casting non-creature spells. Sphere of Safety is still an issue, though. That will slow them down a lot. Opponent says they've got the Aurelia's Fury soft lock. That they do. But, like I said, Sphere going to make it hard for them. Opponent upset that they had the Chaos Warp, said they just had to go for it. Yeah, I mean, I guess you do. So, Feather coming in, opponent's got to pay for it. Kambal can still cast creatures, though. If they've got creatures, that will, might be able to do something for them. Opponent's going to cast Defiant Strike, pump up the Feather. Also get the Strong Arm, a Monk trigger. Burning Prophet will trigger. They can Scry. The Scry is huge. Find your way into another piece of artifact enchantment removal. You get, like, Return to Dust. You get rid of those 2 things. It should be pretty good. Opponent's going to Fist of Flames. Okay. I think I underrated this card in Feather initially. The fact that it also draws a card while it's doing all its stuff, I think actually makes it better than I had given it credit for, because I knew a bunch of people asked me about it, and yeah, I think I undervalued it a bit. Feather up to a 9/6. So opponent goes down to 47, 9 commander damage. Plays the land. Cards come back at the end step. Here comes Aurelia's Fury, X2, 1 on Feather, 1 on Kambal. Triggers going off. Here comes Kambal back to play. Yep. Opponent going to tap out for a Crested Sunmare. Feather can probably win it right here. They just need enough pump spells. If they don't have to hold mana up for Aurelia's Fury, they should just be able to end it. Opponent's going to Defiant Strike to draw an additional card. So Feather going in, pays the 1. Here comes Defiant Strike, gets a bunch of triggers. Feather now a 5/5. Here comes Built to Smash, and this should do it. Opponent's got 9 power, they just need 2 more. Fist of Flames should get them there. Here comes Shelter. Opponent still needs 2 more. Yep, there's a Fist of Flames. This should be enough. So Feather with 15 power and protection from black. And Feather taking down the match. Well, opponent had 3 creatures in hand. I don't know why they didn't play Kakusho. Seems like the one you want right there. Big flying blocker. Opponent had Path to Exile. They had Return to Dust in hand. I probably would have shot the Sphere at some point. Yeah, so Feather getting there. Taking a look at our deck. So we made a few changes between game 1 and game 2. Got a little bit more removal. Been tinkering it with a bit more in this game. Got an extra piece of ramp in there with the Worn Power Stone. Probably still want to get a Thran Dynamo and some other stuff if we can. I think the deck has the potential to be very strong. I don't really have any combos per se built into it, but if you start building combos into it, I think it'll get very, very strong. There's obviously the World Gorger combo, which is going to be very strong, and then you use Cut the Ribbons, something like that, and burn everyone out for X life since you have infinite mana. But you could also do some stuff with like Sack Outlets, Goblin Bombardment, and the Living Death thing that we saw right there. You could get kind of wild with that stuff, use like a Thrilling Encore, maybe use something like a Warstorm Surge and a Pandemonium, start flinging damage every which way. Could be really interesting. So there are some different directions to go with this deck that are very, very interesting, I think, and it could certainly be tuned up a bit more from where it is right now. Have to playtest it a bunch and figure out what things really need to come out. But yeah, overall, I really like the deck. I think it's really cool. If I haven't mentioned it already, this was heavily based on the Olivia Mobilized for War deck list that Lord of the Board played just a couple weeks ago on the channel. I really liked what they had going on there. It takes a lot of tricks from their deck and applies it to Anja because we do have a nice discard ability built in, so it was pretty cool. So yeah, I do really like the deck, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.